Chapter 2. Seed Germination and Dispersal. Important terms. Aerate, mixing water with air. Insecticide, a chemical substance used for killing insects. Texture. Structure. Pesticide, a chemical substance used for killing crop-eating insects. Embryo, young plant. Casing, cover. Tufts, group of long hair. Seeds of one plant differ from the seeds of other plants in terms of their number, shape, size, texture, and color. Structure of seeds. After the fertilization inside the ovary of a flower, the fertilized egg cells divides many times to form the embryo. The plant embryo forms a hard wall around itself, and that is then known as seed. Although seeds may differ in terms of size, shape, and color, they have parts which are common. These are seed coat, embryo, and food supply. The seed coat is tough and waterproof. It covers and protects the embryo and food supply. The embryo is a baby plant. A part of the embryo, the radicle, grows into the primary root. The seed has its own food supply, the endosperm. The cotyledon or seed leaf absorbs the food in the endosperm and transports it to the embryos. Scope. Squirrels bury nuts to eat during winters, not knowing that those very nuts will sprout into new plants. The baby plant is present in between the cotyledons. It develops a new root system and a shoot system that grows into a new plant. The seeds of bean, rajma, and pea have two cotyledons each. Each has part of the seed is a cotyledon. These cotyledons absorb the entire food supply. Seeds with two cotyledons are called dicotyledons or dicots. Seeds of corn, rice, and maize have only one cotyledon. Such seeds are called monocotyledons or monocots. Germination of seeds. Germination is the development of a new plant from a seed. In order to germinate, a seed needs three things: water, oxygen, and the right temperature. Soak any kind of seed in water. The seed first absorbs water through its hole. The seeds swell or become large as water enters into them. The seed coat softens and then breaks. Soon, a tiny root radicle appears from the seed and grows downwards. A shoot, which would become the stem later, also appears and grows upwards. The seed with a small root and a small shoot is called seedling. Later, the first leaves appear on the stem and the seed coat drops off. The growing seedlings uses the food stored in the cotyledons for growth. As the stem grows upward, more and more leaves appear, while the cotyledons become smaller and finally it drops off. By this time, the leaves of the growing plant can already make food through the process of photosynthesis. The plant will use this food as it continues to grow. Seed dispersal. Seed dispersal is the process of spreading seeds to different places. Seeds need to be dispersed because if they are not dispersed, many germinating seedlings will grow very close to the parent plant. This will result in competition between the seedlings and their parent plant. The competition for light, space, water, and nutrients. All of these are important for the growth of plants. Seed dispersal also creates new colonies and prevents overcrowding. Seeds can be dispersed in a number of ways. They may be carried by wind, water, or animals. Some plants even shoot out their seeds explosively. The size of seed is an important factor in its dispersal. Dispersal of seed by wind. In order to be carried by the wind, seeds to be dispersed must be light and small so that they may be carried over large distances. They have hair or wings to help them carried away by the wind. The seeds of heptate, dandelion, and cotton have tufts of hair. Sycamore seeds are winged. They spin through the air like mini helicopters. Dispersal of seed by water. The plants need water for the dispersal of seeds which grow in rivers, oceans, and ponds or near water bodies. The lotus fruit has a spongy part which helps to float. Coconut is hollow on the inside and is covered with hairs outside. This makes it light and hence it can be carried by flowing water over long distances. Dispersal of seeds by animals and humans. Animals and humans eat fruits and throw away their seeds. Seeds of apple, mango, orange, etc. are dispersed in this way. Some seeds have hooks that stick to the fur of animals or to the clothes of humans and get dispersed. One such example is the cultivar seed. Birds swallow some seeds which come out with their droppings. Squirrels collect nuts and bury them to be used in winters. Sometimes they forget where they had buried the seeds. So, when the conditions become favorable, these seeds grow into new plants. While eating fruit, some seeds get stuck on the beaks of birds. When they rub their beaks against the bark of trees, the seeds fall down and later they grow into new plants. Other methods of seed dispersal. Some plants have pods which explode and burst open when they are ripe. This scatters the seeds in all directions. Examples are balsam, pea, ladyfinger, and tamarind. Poppy seeds, when dried by the sun, have little holes all around their top. They shake when the wind blows and the tiny seeds are thrown out too. The casing of the fruits from trees such as chestnuts split when they fall on the ground. The fruit then rolls away from the tree. Reproduction in plants. New plant from spores. Spores are found in fungi like mushroom and mould. They are non-flowering plants, but they do need to reproduce. So, they reproduce with the help of spores. The spores are small, round and light. They can be dispersed easily in various directions to give rise to new plants. Vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation is the process through which plants reproduce with the help of their body parts such as roots, stems, and leaves and not through seeds. Reproduction by roots. The roots that store food in them are carrot, turnip, radish, and sweet potato. They are swollen because of stored food and are known as tuberous roots. When these roots are planted in soil, they give rise to new plants. Reproduction by stem. Underground stems are onion, ginger, and potato. They also have food stored in them. These stems bear buds from which new plants grow. Reproduction by leaves. Some plants have leaves which develop buds on their margins. These buds develop into plantlets which separate from the parent plant and grow into new plants at a later stage. Bryophyllum and begonia plants reproduce in this manner. Reproduction by stem cutting. In the process of reproduction through stem cutting, a small piece of a mature stem with some buds on it is cut off from the parent plant. This piece of stem is then planted into the soil and watered regularly. After a few days, it develops roots and buds and grows into a new plant. Plants grown in this way include rose, sugarcane, bougainvillea, cactus, and hibiscus. Crops and cultivation. Crops are the plants which are grown by farmers to get food and other useful products. Growing crops in the field is known as cultivation. Kharif crops like rice, maize, jowar, bajra, peanuts, jute, and cotton are grown in summers. Rabi crops like wheat and barley are grown in winters. Growing crops. Healthy crops are important because they help in feeding the people of a country. There are several things that farmers keep in mind while growing crops. A good crop adds to the wealth of the nation. There are different stages for growing healthy crops. Plowing the field. The first preparation for growing crops is known as plowing. The purpose of plowing is to turn over the upper layer of the soil and bring the fresh nutrients to the surface. It also helps in burying the weeds and remains of previous crops, allowing them to break down. Plowing aerates the soil and allows the soil to hold moisture. Sowing the seed. The process of planting healthy seeds is known as sowing. Addition of fertilizers. For the better growth of crops, farmers mix fertilizers in the soil to make it rich in minerals. There are two types of fertilizers. Manure. It is a natural fertilizer made from the remains of dead and decaying plants or from cow dung. Chemical fertilizers. These are man-made fertilizers like urea, nitrates, and phosphates. Irrigation. Irrigation is the process in which water is supplied to farming fields artificially. Crops need water to grow. Farmers give right amount of water to their crops at the right time. Crop protection. Any crop needs to be protected from herbivorous animals at the time it grows. This is done by creating a fence around the field. Besides, pests like rats, mice and insects also harm crops. Farmers use pesticides and insecticides to kill pests. DDT and Germination are some common insecticides. Harvesting and storage. Harvesting is the process in which crops are harvested when they are ripened. After harvesting, grains like wheat and rice are stored in godowns. This protects them from getting spoiled by moisture or eaten up by rats, birds and insects. Vegetables and fruits cannot be stored for long periods at room temperature as they get spoiled very quickly. Fruits and vegetables are stored